as it pops up, age is relatively different, but look at that height advantage, 5'11" to 6'2", obviously the same weight class, but then look at the experience going across to Chadwick, 20-11-1 versus 5-5 in Cook.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is BAMMA, leader in MMA entertainment. BAMMA 17, right here at the Victoria Warehouse in Manchester. We are ready for 3 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting at the blue corner, a wrestling and Thai specialist. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall. He weighed in at 185.2 pounds and has a record of 20 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw. 11 wins by way of submission. Representing ASW, Unity 7 Gym and Function Gym from Liverpool, England, the Butcher, Lee Chadwick. And his opponent, fighting out of red corner, a striking specialist. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighed in at 185 pounds, and has a record of 5 wins, 5 losses, and 0 draws. 5 wins by way of TKO, representing IMMA and Next Generation from Northern Ireland, Conor Cooke. When the action begins, your referee in charge, Mr. Mark Goddard.
Now, Frank, you mentioned about Chadwick and the experience level. Apart from his last fight, which was a loss, funnily enough, at the BAMMA fight night to Ion Pascu, he's been on an 8-fight winning streak. And it's, I mean, you lose to Pascu, that's a big name, but he's also been in with the likes of Jack Marshman, Zeg Galetzik. So in experience terms, vastly more experienced than his opponent.
Yeah, we called the Marshman fight, and I was very disappointed in the game he went against Marshman. I think something was wrong during that fight, because he didn't really push the pace as much as he could have, and much as we've seen him do in the past. And then he came back out, and obviously he's done better as of late.
Yes, as I said, in his last 9, it's 8 wins. Only the loss on BAMMA fight night to Pascu.
And Pascu's no slouch, so you're going to be disappointed in the loss, but don't take it to heart. That's a tough character to try to anybody get a victory over.
And by the same token, when you look at Conor Cooke, what's he must look out for here is his last 2 losses have both been by submission. And if you look on Chadwick's record, 11 submission wins there. So he's got to be very careful upright and on the ground. Whichever way you look at it, it's going to be a tough night's work for Conor.
Cooke doesn't want to get in one, he doesn't want to get the ips, where like American baseball players, they all of a sudden they can't throw, the second baseman all of a sudden can't throw to first base, all of a sudden you can't swing at a ball, it's swing and hit it. You start getting losses by the same way over and over again, by submission, if it happens again tonight, you get confidence gets beat, and you really got to stay away from that. So if he loses tonight, I don't see Cooke losing by submission. I think he's really worked diligently on it. I think the report is that he's been paying a lot of attention to the signs of the submission he's getting on. He tends to try to fight out of it a little bit too late, and that's why he gets caught, because he tries to get out of it too late. He's going to come out a lot earlier this time around, I would think. But now we're going to see a position where he's going to get grounded and leaned on, and as you see right now by Chadwick, is just going to lean on him and grind on him, and if he gets on top of him, he's just going to start raining down blows on him until he gives up either by cut or by ref stoppage, by Mark stopping it.
Well, so they're in the center of the cage again, and for me, you feel this is Conor Cooke's best chance. His wins have come by stoppage. He's got to maximize the moments they are here in the center of the cage.
He uses that nice reaching late left jab, and it turns into a hook from the same position, so you're not sure which way it's coming, but he just throws one punch. He's not throwing a bunch of punches and then getting out of the way. He's throwing one punch and standing still, and one punch and standing still.
He's just caught the nose and bloodied the nose of Chadwick here, because you're right, they're only single shots, but then that's better. And put the leg on the end, so that when Chadwick goes to set himself to come back, you take him off balance again. That's better work from Cooke. I love when you put the leg on the end, and you can see why, Frank. It makes Chadwick have to set again.
Off balance him, you can get out of the way and hit him again if you choose to, circle off. And that bloody nose is really bothering Chadwick. It made him up his wrestling game. He stepped in to stop him getting hit. The nose punch really bothered him. So now Cooke has to understand, hey, my opponent doesn't like getting punched in the nose. Get back up to my feet any way I can. Right now, start the battle again with the striking and start going after that nose.
Well, he just stepped up the pace, as you said, from single shots to the combination and the leg on the end. But you know now this is where Chadwick will really fancy his chances.
And you can see Mark.
He's got that neck really tight. Well, he's looking to really crank it up now, Frank. Mark Goddard. Our referee looking closely.
Wow, good job catching the wrist and pulling it off. He pulled it off his neck. It was tight.
He's
it was
free.
underneath.
He's free. Yeah. But downward pressure there from Chadwick, keeping this position. And this is where Conor Cooke didn't want to be.
At all. No, this is not the position. He's head on head. The moment his head pops off. See, I love the way that Chadwick wrestles in this position. His forehead is on his chin. He's dragging into him. He's pushing into him. And as soon as his head comes off, he hunts for the neck. Every single time.
Yes, he's been keeping the pressure on Cooke consistently. And now he's cranking up on that neck, Frank.
He won't get it. Cooke is just too tall. He's too tall in this position. Chadwick doesn't have enough power. He has to completely lift him off his feet to do it. He doesn't have the length to do it.
Goes for the double leg instead, but Cooke did well there.
Wow.
And turns him nicely for the knee. And now Conor Cooke pushing that head into the forehead of Luke Chadwick there, and a short left, and the knee almost landed.
It might have even touched him a little bit, but the problem is he left it up there, and that gives Chadwick a chance to grab the leg and put him down. Now he has his back. One hook in, 2 hooks in.
Well, Chadwick capitalized. He was clever enough to, as you said, just take the knee and then immediately respond, and that's been the problem. This is dangerous for Cooke now.
Very dangerous. He has to get one heel off and try to get a hip free. Protect his neck first. His chin is down, so he's okay. Now we need to start battling these legs off him.
That's a big man to have on top of you trying for the rear naked, Frank.
It's scary having a guy like that on your back. It's scary having a guy with that kind of strength and that kind of tenacity. And you got to learn how to be calm and patient. See, he's not turning his hips anymore. He needs to turn a little bit more to try to get out of there.
Well, the bell's going to save him, Frank.
Yeah.
But for me, if there was any doubt, because there was some good, clean boxing there from Cooke, but if there's any doubt now, surely it's a 10-9 for Chadwick.
Absolutely. Chadwick controlled most of the pace, got most of the takedowns, ended up on top, did most of the grind. It's going to be tough. It's going to be closer than you even think. It's not a definite. You could actually. This is one of those rounds where the half-point system could almost be used, where 9.5, 10, because he did bloody him up, he did hit him, he just got beat in a couple positions. He got taken down more, got pushed to the back, and.
Now that's a beautiful jab, Frank.
Jab, steps back. That's we call it the Russian style jab, but it comes from no place from your hip, and you don't even really turn it over. You just kind of throw it out there like a club. And then later on, you see Chadwick just gets the takedown, just powers himself in, puts himself in good position, and dials in. And you see here, the moment that he puts his knee up there, Chadwick grabs the leg, takes it to that forehead, and drives him down. Great position.
For me, there was a moment in that opening round where you could see hope for Cooke with the way that he puts the low kick on the end of that combination, because as Chadwick went to settle himself, obviously the low kick came in. I feel Cooke's best chance is to bring that low leg kick in whenever possible, so that we saw how quickly Chadwick responds. Give him something else to think of with his balance.
Wow, that jab comes out of there quick. See that? I agree with you, Malcolm. I think he needs to start going lower. He should have came right back on the other side.
Now telegraph that kick. There's no way that was going to land, because there is an economy of movement about Chadwick as well that goes with his experience. He does move his head. He has got nice foot movement. And see, for Cooke now, the jumping knee is growing in confidence, but
silly and stupid at that point. There's no reason. He didn't have him backed up. He didn't have him hurt. He's just trying to throw, a judging movement. But now
that's where the leg comes on the end, Frank. It's here, look there. That's all it needs. And then Chadwick has got to reset again. But picking up on your previous point, far too often it's just the single shots from a very competent boxer.
Obviously he has good hand placement, he's good hand skill. Keeps his hands a little bit too low. Really knows how to throw the pace, and stays just out of range. Good head movement. One punch. So he has all the tools, just not the volume.
No, and again, it's actually Chadwick that's throwing a tentative low kick, but for me, Cooke, follow those kicks up inside and outside of that lead Chadwick leg. And again, if he starts to target that lead leg, when his man comes to shoot in, when his man comes to do certain things, he's working away at one of his tools here. But he's not. That's the problem. Oh. Chadwick's ear bleeding as well, I think, now, Frank.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't see when that happened. I wonder if it's an old, because he's got cauliflower ear, it doesn't move as much. I wonder if it's an old cut that just got scraped open again.
But this is better from Cooke, and I can't understand. Chadwick seems, I know it sounds silly, but comfortable, Frank, letting him do it. And I wouldn't be, because he's picking up points here.
he probably doesn't feel, he's so strong, he's so big around the neck and shoulders, he probably doesn't feel any of the sting that those punches are giving him damage. Like, usually when you get hit, you feel a little sting behind your kneecaps, like, oh, I got rocked a little bit. Chadwick is in such good shape, he doesn't feel it, so he probably doesn't think that it's doing any damage. Even though we're sitting on the commentary side, we know for sure that is doing damage.
And it's racking up the points, and Cooke now also putting in those kicks. And you just get a feeling this man is growing in confidence now. It might be false confidence or falsely placed, but he's certainly more confident in this second round.
You know what? It looks like almost like Chadwick got tired.
Well, I don't understand the tactics if not, Frank, because he's allowing Cooke's confidence to grow. The points are amassing for Conor Cooke. And you can see the way he moves and drops those arms. He's supremely confident at the moment. And I'm just thinking, what are Chadwick's tactics here? Now that was, again, a mistake. It's a lazy kick when you're doing the right thing, chopping down at the legs. And he's paid for it again. We see it all the time, Frank. A wrong choice can lead to so many things. And Cooke was in total dominant form there, and he did not want to be here. He didn't need to be here.
He had the position. All he had to do was throw a solid front kick, a real front kick, turn himself off and get out of the way. And throws a lazy kick out there, trying to make something happen, trying to keep his rhythm up. We talked about his volume up a little bit earlier, and he finally has his volume up, and then he just does it lazily just because he wants to keep the volume.
Well, it was lazy, and he left it there as well, which is, it was asking for trouble. And after a really dominant 3 minutes, he's in this position now with just under a minute and a half left, and there was no need for it. So we're just about coming into the last minute here now, and Chadwick tying up again. But again, I find it hard to explain Chadwick's tactics in round 2 here, Frank, even now.
It's almost like he's taking round 2 off. Like he's trying to coast through round 2 and then come back. I won round 1, I'm gonna take round 2 off, and I'll come in and I'll win round 3. As opposed to trying to win every single round, every single battle. He's kind of taking a round off. You see, he was double leg. He had a nice tight double leg right there, and he let it go halfway through because he didn't want to put all the effort into it. It is almost like he's calling this round in. He's just trying to survive through this round.
Well, it's a dangerous tactic, Mark God. I've seen enough there as they've tied up.
Is it just me, or Mark Goddard lose a lot more weight? Like every time I see him, it looks like he lost another, 5-6 kilos.
Yeah, he's looking good in there today.
Did I say that right? 5-6 kilos. I actually say that right. If I deal in pounds, don't know what. Not your money.
But again, we're inside the last 10 down. Conor Cooke's back inside his comfort zone. And I'm just wondering if that is exactly it, Frank, that we're going to see a different Chadwick come out for the 3rd round, because he's coasted in this second and he's paid for it. Or maybe he just is genuinely tired.
No, he's exhausted. Chadwick's exhausted. I don't know if he had an injury coming in that didn't let him train as much or what, but he is exhausted coming in. We saw him hitting that corner. You look here, you see outside, he goes down low. Every time that Chadwick lifts his hands up, he should immediately go down the legs, either left side or right side, just to keep him off guard. And he's always outside. Anytime Chadwick throws a punch, he hardly ever gets hit, which is why his confidence building up. Now we're coming into the 3rd round. He knows he lost. Cooke knows he lost the 1st round. He knows he wins the 2nd round. Chadwick knows he won the 1st, and he lost the 2nd. So who's got the momentum now going into the 3rd round?
I think you're right. That's what it's all about. It's whether Chadwick is saving up for the big 3rd and thinking, right, I'm really going to go for it now, or Cooke is on a roll. And I just think Cooke could take this. If Chadwick stays the same, Cooke could take this just with bread and butter technique and banging the kicks in low. Bread and butter. He's got good range, as you said. He knows how to use it. Keep the kicks low, keep Chadwick off balance. But I think we're going to see a different Chadwick this round as well.
And he bloodied him up, his eye, his ear, his nose. Okay, Chadwick stepping forward. He is attempting a little bit more. He's trying to get inside.
Well, it's a dangerous game because Cooke, we can see, can catch him on the way in. You've got to close that gap very quickly if you're going to close, because Cooke has been accurate. As you said, he's opened him up. And this is not the range Chadwick wants to be at.
No, he needs to be all the way inside. It's a shorter fight, at least for this fight. Not always. But for this fight, he's a shorter fighter. He needs to be on the inside. He doesn't throw straight punches. He throws hooking punches, which takes away another 2 or 3 inches. So he's got to get deep inside, and he can't do it with a guy like Cooke, if you allow him to maneuver like this on the outside.
Mind you, if Cooke does another jump like that, he's giving Chadwick opportunities. He gave him an opportunity with a jump kick in the first round. He gave him an opportunity with a lazy side kick in the second. He just doesn't need it. This is all he needs, bread and butter technique, because he can't afford to let, and Chadwick, that was a tired hook. But again, Cooke's allowed him to tie up.
And there goes Chadwick again with his head pressure. He's going to lean in heavy and hard, try and put a little pressure on him, try to get him pushing down. But he's also resting. For Chadwick as a wrestler, this is a resting position. He's getting his energy back in this position. But for a guy like Cooke, who is not really a wrestling guy, he's getting leaned on, he's getting pressure. This is under duress. He's under duress in this spot. Now he's trying to battle a takedown. And really, honestly, Chadwick's not using that much energy right now. Till right now, when he's trying for this heavy double. Oh, he sold himself out for this double. He's trying everything to get him to the ground now. Chadwick's using a lot of energy to try to get him down to the ground.
Which is interesting. If Mark Goddard decides it's not going to happen and splits them, if Cooke is sensible, it could be playing right into his hands here.
All that Chadwick needs to do is circle to his left and take his right elbow to his right hip as he circles. He'll drop him right against the cage. He's trying to be too much power-oriented by going straight in here on his wrestling takedown. He would just circle off to the side and keep that leg with him as he goes. He'd be on top right now instead of broken up and back out in the middle.
Well, now it's there for Cooke to capitalize on, looking at the body language of Chadwick. As you said, that was a big play by him, and it hasn't paid off. Oh, good shot from Cooke there. Nice, sweet right hand in the counter, and then the jab. And Chadwick's face opening up again. Cooke just needs to stay here. The low kick comes through now as well.
What a good... Cooke is doing so much better than we saw in the first round. Weathered the storm, battled out. He's got to stop throwing lazy stuff out there, though.
It's those low kicks that will win it, but again, he does it and allows Chadwick those moments. But like you said, Frank, the problem for Chadwick is he's really not capitalized on this. It's given him the rest, but nothing else.
Yeah, he's not... even that last shot where he got unhooked and lifted up, he didn't really penetrate. He just kind of reached for it. He didn't really make a nice, hard shot. He's got it. If you're going to go on a takedown, especially in this position, you've got to go for a takedown. You've got to try to push the guy to the ground and shoot on him hard and heavy and try to shoot through him, especially when you're losing a stand-up game. You need to win the round. You need to get him. You need to get on top of him. You got to shoot with some kind of force, and he just kind of reached in for it. And we're still here against the cage. After me talking for 20 seconds, we're still leaning here.
Exactly.
And Chadwick is still losing the round.
And as you said
really
that,
happened.
Mark Goddard saying to him, look, I'm going to split this up again. We've seen him do it before. And I do question Chadwick's tactics. I wonder what you said about an injury earlier or stamina issues, because he hasn't really managed to initiate anything of substance in the second or third rounds. And again, Cooke's finding this so easy to defend.
He's barely putting any hip pressure in, just lifting him up a little bit with underhooks and gets him off the double.
And again, they're going to be split up. And if I was Cooke, just keep those kicks low, keep the jab and right going, and you're going to take this fight against the vastly more experienced man.
So this is the reason why I wish that we had the corners mic'd up, because it interests me right now. What is the corner telling? What's Cooke's corner telling him? Like, what are they saying? You know, because we agree on what they should be doing. Stepping the outside, keep away from him, hit him with little peppering shots. We're 45 seconds left into it. But some corners I've heard, like, no, you know, knock him out, take him down. Like,
no, he just needs to pepper and move. Put the low kick in just when Chadwick sets again. Take the leg away. And don't be here.
Great job by Chadwick to keep getting back to his good position, but he's just not finishing.
You wonder how much he's got left in the tank to finish now, Frank. He's
so
taken a lot of shots.
You know, it's easy for us sitting down on the outside of the cage. We talk about energy levels and saying when somebody's tired and whether they were hurt or not. But it's also one of those times you want to be a champ. You want to win fights. You got to jump in hard and heavy and go after it.
Well, it's ended the same way as a lot of this round's been fought against the cage here. Very frustrating, I feel, for Chadwick. And I feel that, yes, Conor Cooke puts his arms up first, then Chadwick responds. But I think Conor Cooke's got every right to feel hopeful here.
Yeah, I really do. Cooke did a great job. You know, he lost the first round, had a tough first round. You know, a really, really mentally draining first round. Coming back out, you know, his rhythm, his patterns didn't work, his striking didn't work, and then he gets into the third round, and all of a sudden, all his striking works. He's starting to land, even though he's hitting. If you see Chadwick's head snapping back, even though he's hitting the gloves, because those gloves aren't much protection. That's why I'm a big attribute of you've got to move your head at all times. And then he started lifting his elbows up as he was blocking, so his chin was wide open, even though his forehead was covered. and he just started getting hit more and more. And really, Cook fought his way out of the first round, wins the second round, in my opinion, wins the third round, in my opinion, and wins this fight 28-29.
And we're looking at a man that thinks the same way, Frank. This will be very interesting to see if the judges agree with us here. And a big scalp for him, really.
After 3 exciting rounds, we go to our judges' scorecards. Your winner by unanimous decision in the red corner, Conor Cooke.